morning, students. I hope that you all are doing really well at your homes. As this is going to be your third lecture, and in the previous lecture, we have discussed about living things and non-living things. So let's briefly revise that what we had discussed in the previous lecture. So in the previous lecture, I had told you that what are living things. Living things basically what are organisms. Sorry, organisms basically are living things. And what are living things? Living things are things that need food, water, and air. Anything that needs food for eat and water to drink and air to breathe is called a living thing. For example, a human being, a man, because a man needs food to be alive and oxygen to breathe and water to also to live. If we are not going to get water for 14 days, we are going to die. Our body needs water. Similarly, a buffalo is also an animal which it's also a living thing because it needs both three of these things. It cannot survive without all these things. A plant, for example a mango tree, it also needs food. Food, it doesn't like eat food, but it needs food, water, and air. Without water and air, a plant cannot grow. So living things are also mango tree is also a living thing. Then flamingos is a bird because it lives in water, and as you can see in the picture, because it needs food, water, and air to breathe, and water for drinking and food for eating. It cannot live without all these things. So all these things are living things because they need food, water, and air, and without food, water, and air they cannot survive. So these are living things. Non-living things, they do not need food, water, and air. They can survive without all these things. They can be broken, they can be repaired, and they can be they can um, we can turn them into different shapes. We can But they do not need food, water, and air. You can play with them, you can do different things with them. They can break, you can make new non-living things, but you cannot make living things. So for example, a ball or a chair or clouds that you see in the air, or a screwdriver, all these things that do not need food, water, and air. And they can be broken, they can be they can be repaired, they can be used several times, and there can be multiple. You can make them, you can create them, recreate them, and but they do not need food, water, and air. So all they need is human they need human beings, because they cannot function on their own. All these things they can function on their own, but these things they do not function if there's a ball lying on a chair, then it will stay there until unless you're going to move it. Similarly, clouds and screwdriver, you use until unless you're not going to use the screwdriver is going to be there all the time. But a man moves, a buffalo moves, a mango tree also moves. So it doesn't move with legs, but it when air blows, so it kind of flutters uh, in its position. And then flamingos, they move, they flap their wings. So all these things, they move on their own, but these non-living things, they do not move on their own. Okay, so these are all called non-living things, and these are living things. We had discussed all these things in the previous lecture, and this is your topic for today as well. So now if you open page number 8 of your book, and you can see there are some examples of living and non-living things. For example, there's a cat, and the cat is a living thing because it needs food. As you can see in the picture, it is eating some food, and it also needs water for drinking. So this is, you can see in this picture, you can see the cat is drinking water, and it needs air. If you are not going to give cat air, it is going to die. If you are going to suffocate a cat, it is going to die. So just like human beings, a cat needs food, water, and air. So what it is a living thing. But and also cats can move on their own. So Allah Almighty has given cats legs, and they have given the power to move on their own. They do not require man or a human being or a support of any other person to move. They move on their own. And cats can also reproduce. Reproduce means they can have babies. They can make babies, and they are going to have little kittens. And going to make babies. They're going to make new lives. They're going to make more cats. So they can reproduce. They can produce again. Then, for example, now look at this picture. This is a doll. Doll is a toy which do not need air, food, or water. So it's a non-living thing because it doesn't need food, water, or air. And toys cannot move on their own. If there's a toy at your home in your home, and if you're not going to move the toy from its place, it's not going to move on its own. You have to do the effort. You or any other person, your mother, your father, your sibling, any other person in the house will pick up that toy and put it in its place. Otherwise, the toy is going to be there, lying there all the time. So it cannot move on their own. What's the difference between a non-living thing and a living thing? That living things can move on their own, but non-living things they cannot move on their own. For example, a cat and a toy. And toys cannot reproduce or grow. So if you brought a car from a shop, which is a toy, and will the car start making more cars out of it? No, because it's a non-living thing. Non-living things they cannot reproduce. So if your brother or sister, or your parents or any friend gives you a gift, a car or a doll or a small truck or something else, or a stuffed bear or something like, or a teddy bear or something, or any toy, it will just be one toy that you got. It will not make more toys out of it because it cannot reproduce in its own. So, and also living things can grow. Yes, they can grow. When a cat's baby is born, when a kitten is born, it is very tiny, very small in size. But as it moves, as it ages, it grows in size. It becomes bigger and bigger, and finally it becomes a cat. So just like human being, when a baby is born, it's a small baby, and then it grows into an adult, and then into a man, and then into this old man. So just like human beings, cat and just like human beings, cats also can grow. So they are living things, but these toys they cannot grow. If you have brought a car, it will not grow in its length, or it will not grow in its height, or in its width, or it will not become fat or become slim. It will remain the way it is forever. So living things they can grow, and non-living things they cannot grow. So you have to remember all these things, that living things can move, but non-living things cannot move on their own. Living things can reproduce, but non-living things cannot reproduce or grow. But living things they can grow. So classify classifying. Okay, what does classifying mean? Classifying means to divide things into different groups or pairs. So when you see similar things, we put them into different groups, similar groups. Like just like your in your classes, you are classified into different groups or different classes. Like for example, if your brother is elder than you, then he is classified into a different class. And if he or she is younger than you, then he is classified into a different class. And similarly um, similarly, when there are certain types of animals which look similar and which have similar features, then we classify them into different groups, so into similar groups. So classifying basically means to put things into different groups. For example, there are so many babies and there are so many man in the in a group. So how are we going to classify? We are going to put the babies into one group, and all the men into other groups. So we are going to what we are actually doing, we are classifying things. So we see so many things every day. It is easier to study them in groups. So because there are so many things in the universe, so when things are into one group, and because they have similar features and similar things, then it's easier for us to study them. We put things that are similar, the same in some ways, in a group. So we put classifying means basically to put things that are similar to each other, which are similar to each other, to put them into a single group. So By putting them into groups, we are classifying them. So what is the definition of classifying? Classifying means to put things into different groups. So, and for example, there are living things, because all living things, they are similar. For example, this dog and all these human beings, this child, these two children, this lady, this man, these are living things. Why? Because they have similar features. For example, they need food to drink, they need food for eating, they need air to breathe, they need water to live. Similarly, this dog also can be classified into a living thing, because it needs food, water, and air just like human beings. So we can put these things into one group. All these things in a room are non-living things, and we can put all these things into one group, because this ball, this umbrella, these glasses, this sofa, this lamp, these windows, this door, and this mat, this painting over here, all these things, this mat over here, all these things, they do not need food, water, and air. So and they cannot grow on their own, and they cannot reproduce. So these are put into one group, which is called non-living things. So classifying means to put things which are similar to each other, similar features to each other, to put them into one group, just like living things and non-living things. So what does classifying mean? Classifying means to put them into groups. So now you understand what are two groups over here in this page mentioned. These are living things and non-living things. These are two groups. So now what we are going to do is, this is all for today's lecture, and now what you are going to do, I'm going to provide you worksheets, and what you have to do is, you have to first of all listen to the lecture very carefully, and if you do not understand anything, that you can contact me and contact the school, and I'm going to help you with whatever difficulties you people are facing. And then you have to do the worksheets, which are which have questions from the lesson. So you have to read your book very carefully, you have to listen to the lecture very carefully, and then you have to do the worksheets. And if you are having any problem, then you can ask me very freely. Okay, and so I'm going to see you in the next lecture. Till then, take care, and Allah Hafiz, and be safe. Allah Hafiz.